Hi everyone, it's Eric and welcome to my new show, 3 Minute Reviews. This series is meant to give you the most informative reviews in as little as 3 minutes. Now in this series I'm going to review my entire 3DS and PS Vita collection, and as you can see there are a lot of them. Now I got the 3DS before the Vita, so it's only fitting that I start by reviewing the first 3DS game I ever bought. So as soon as the timer starts counting down, we will begin the review. Super Street Fighter 4 was one of the 3DS's launch titles, and in all honesty, it was pretty much the only game worth picking up for the system at launch. When I heard this game was coming to the handheld, I was very skeptical. I mean, this is a game that did not even make it to the Nintendo Wii and only made its home to the PS3, 360 and PC. Plus it was a huge game with more than 30 fighters and 20 stages. They would have to cut out a huge chunk of content. Well, to our surprise, they really didn't skimp on anything. The entire character roster, stages, and graphics look almost identical to its console counterparts. Top that off with an effective yet subtle 3D effect and you have one of the nicest looking 3DS games to date. The only downside was the exclusion of animated backgrounds, and that is kind of a major give as the 3D looks so good and the still image backgrounds become even more obvious. Imagine how mind-blowing the 3D experience would have been if we had moving backgrounds, and seeing what the 3DS is capable of nowadays, I'm convinced the system is more than capable of this. They do try to give you a 3D mode to make the 3D look better, but to be honest, in all the years I've owned this game, I have only played this mode about 2 or 3 times. Now the 3DS version of Super Street Fighter 4 benefits by carrying over all the good aspects of the console versions, but unfortunately that does also mean the flaws were carried over too. My only problem with the gameplay is that fighting Seth and your rival towards the end of the arcade mode is very unbalanced. Even if you play those last couple of fights on the easy difficulty, the computer still blocks your attacks 90% of the time, and when your guard is down, in that split second they will attack you. This part of the game is very unfair and comes off as more frustrating than fun. Going back to the positives, the fact that this game gives you all 35 characters and 22 stages is truly amazing. You even get the entire moveset and costumes for each character as well. One of the things I've always loved about Street Fighter as opposed to other fighting games like Mortal Kombat and Tekken is that pulling off combos are short, easy, and super satisfying to pull off. No pun intended. The music for the menus and stages is very catchy and hits the right note pretty much every time. Everything in this game just feels right. The music, sound effects, and the graphics come together like the perfect marriage. Now it's time for some tips and tricks. Now believe it or not, but this game can actually be played in a solid 60 frames per second as opposed to the standard 30 frames per second. Once you have done that, the 3D LED will turn off and you are now playing in a smooth and seamless 60 frames per second. My next tip is if you know how to play as either Ryu or Ken, then you're in luck as you can then play as their master, Goken, whose moveset is more or less identical to the both of them. So without any additional practice, you already know another character's moves inside out. So in conclusion, Super Street Fighter 4 is an example of a port done right. Everything from the console versions is here, and I am proud to award it an 8 out of 10. I really hope you have enjoyed this episode as much as I have making it, folks. Stay tuned for my next review, which will be Uncharted Golden Abyss for the PS Vita. Please leave me some comments below and let me know what you think of this week's episode. Your feedback is invaluable and welcome. Thanks for watching, and I'll see all of you next week. Have a great rest of the day.
Yeah!